Oscar Isaac seems to be having a pretty good 2021 with scenes from a Marriage on HBO and the upcoming Dune, and now he's teaming up with an award-winning screenwriter turned director. This is my review of The Card Counter. The film follows William Tell, a gambler and former serviceman who sets out to reform a young man seeking revenge on a mutual enemy from their past. And while Tell sees a chance at redemption by mentoring this young man and setting his sights on the World Series of Poker, he finds himself being dragged back into the darkness of their past. But before I properly start with my review, I want you to start the conversation in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on this film, if you've seen it, if you're excited for it, your thoughts on Schrader's filmography. Throw it all down there and start the conversation not just with me, but with one another. And while you're down there, if you like what you see here, consider clicking that subscribe button if you haven't yet, so you can join all the conversations about your favorite movies and TV shows. Going into this film, I'm a fan of Paul Schrader, I'm a fan of Oscar Isaac, but I am not a fan of poker. It's about as boring a topic of conversation or a subject for a film as it can be. However, I thought the same about chess last year, and still The Queen's Gambit was my favorite TV show, so I went into this film just wanting to watch a good film, and Oscar Isaac leading this gives a tremendous performance. I thought he was really great. He plays this character in a very subdued way. He clearly demonstrates that he is someone haunted by the sins of his past. It's clearly very professionally shot. Schrader clearly knows how to convey information just visually with barely any dialogue. His dialogue, if anything, especially through the use of narration, is just embellishing stuff that we already see. But unfortunately, apart from that character work on Oscar Isaac's part and how the film looks, Paul Schrader just gets a little bit too overindulgent in his style of storytelling and doesn't really know what story he wants to tell. As I said, Oscar Isaac is this former soldier dealing with PTSD who was abused in prison, and now he takes those tactics and uses them to play poker, but that's all you get. It's an understanding, it's that notion, that description of those things. Throughout the entire film, the film really doesn't make any point about the PTSD of this soldier. Why does he do that? Is it an artistic outlet? In the entire film, there's no connective tissue between either of these elements. Yes, the soldier has PTSD. Yes, he plays poker. Why? How do those two connect? If he has PTSD, what's the point the film is making about PTSD? If he plays poker using the tactics he got from prison, which is also where he got the PTSD, is that an expressive outlet for him? Is it a coping mechanism? By the end of the film, we really have no answers to this. These elements and so many others of the film just are barely disconnected. They're just there. They're pieces in a puzzle that do not connect. The young man that he starts to kind of mentor throughout the film, played by Sheridan, barely has any impact on the story emotionally speaking, because as much as Oscar Isaac tries, they never really get close because the kid is always very shut off. He's got his mind straight, set on something, and there's never really a moment where Oscar Isaac convinces him to do otherwise, nor are you ever fooled into thinking that. So it's hard to feel anything at all for them and for their relationship when it is affected by events of the film or character choices throughout. And having a character dealing with PTSD should make an incredibly riveting journey throughout about him trying to not go back into that darkness, but that does not exist in this film, unfortunately. There's barely any build-up to an eventual snapping of this character. When he does eventually snap, it feels unearned because the story is so convoluted and lacking any clear direction or a journey for this character. There's barely anything to be recognized as an arc in this. At the end, the card counter is a frustrating experience, to say the least. Its flawed execution is filled with holes lacking any tension or connection between its most important pieces, and ultimately that causes us to not be able to connect with its lead character when it should be so easy, and unfortunately it just doesn't end up working. I'm giving the card counter a C-. The chemistry between the characters is fun, and again, the film looks good, and Oscar Isaac somehow plays this role well, so it's frustrating if entirely watchable. But now I want to know your thoughts on the card counter. Start the conversation down there if you haven't yet, and remember, if you watched this far and like what you saw, consider clicking that subscribe button so you can join every conversation in the future about your favorite movies and TV. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. I'll be back very soon with more reviews, and I hope to see you there. Remember to check out my reviews for Dear Evan Hansen, Star Wars Visions, and all great stuff is up now on the channel. So until the next one, love each other and love the movies.